Well, the Deadpool episode begins season 2 of Assist Me. Season 2 it's interesting. I think it technically is like some of the best work we were doing. And the most important thing is like deadlines, man. Like deadlines are a big part of making this shit actually work. Because if you have people that are constantly asking and people are like, oh, we've got to get you out here to do this stuff. People are like expecting it.
This is the happiest day of my life.
Oh, the tormented doom.
Laura, please, call me Laura.
Yeah, 2012, the year the world ended, right? Remember the chat?
You left me out of season 1, you cheap bastard! Season 1 of what? What are you looking at?
That's actually a top mask with face makeup on below it. Yeah, we wanted a Deadpool's eyes to emote, but we couldn't if there was a full mask. So it was contacts on top of like burned skin makeup. Yeah, Mike and Simmons playing a majority of characters ended up being Norm before Ryan Reynolds, like 6 years before Ryan Reynolds or some shit like that.
Whoa, hang on, guys. We don't need any more rap battles here.
Oh, but I think we do!
No.
Party pooper.
Everyone was pissed at that joke. Everyone was like, that joke sucks. Where's the rap battle? We're mad. Beginning of season 2, and anything else crazy happened around this time frame? Street Fighter Cross Tekken oh no, oh my god, that's right. That's right, Street Fighter Cross Tekken comes out and I'm once again employed by Capcom. So in kind of a short time span, we get a pitch from the Capcom guys for a reality show.
How's it going, everyone?
And they're pitching a reality show where they have a bunch of people from like the Tekken and Street Fighter communities, and they needed editors to edit the stuff together from this reality show fast. So we had like one night. So the majority of my work was going up to the Capcom headquarters, which was pretty cool, helping out with Cross Assault in the day behind the scenes, and then editing our royal asses off with a bunch of the guys that would essentially become Tenno Productions. This is one of the hardest things I ever did editing-wise, because I fucking went from my hotel room, I slept for 6 hours directly to Capcom, was there for like 16 hours, immediately back to here for 6 hours, back and forth for, I swear to God, like 8 days straight. But it was hectic, it was crazy, it was way too ambitious, and I don't know if it eventually helped out Street Fighter Cross Tekken very much, but it was nuts, dude. And then I just drove my ass back home. But it was just cool because it was the beginning of Capcom going out to a bunch of different people and getting their help. Like a lot of the guys that were Hans and the crew from the dudes in NorCal were working with Capcom now, and it was actually pretty dope. But outside of that, I was trying to spread the Online Warrior to other things. So Soul Calibur 5 came out, and I was jazzed for Soul Calibur because it was one of my favorite game series. And I wanted to start the Online Warrior for a different game, and I was like, maybe I can translate Online Warrior to other games that I'm fighting about, and oh, we can make the Online Warrior happen for Soul Calibur, and that sort of begins here. I don't think there's anything super special that happens in any one of these episodes, but one thing that I really wanted to do for this game that was like the beginning of it was doing a live recording. Like this was the game that began live recording, where if I'm like playing a game, I'll just record my reactions live to whatever the hell's happening and just speak of what's going on. But then Capcom hired me again to do a crossover series, and the crossover was all about like a tutorial for introducing Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I really wanted to make this like a costume character Assist Me show, but the budget was really small. I keep on doing the Online Warrior for UMBC 3, Soul Calibur story mode, yada yada yada. And then me and Simmons start this little thing called Sega Saturn Saturdays. This is the start of Yo Video Games right here. And it's just me and Simmons talking about one of our favorite systems, the Sega fucking Saturn, and just casually unscripted
system.
Talking about everything we loved about the Saturn. But yeah, we just started with like a few games. Daytona, USA. I barely had the means to even capture this shit. Sega Saturn Saturdays was like the beginning, you know, and we sort of have our Saturn days every once in a while now. Yeah, I went on remember when Cross Counter was this big crazy show? Like they had this giant production studio. Yeah, Cross Counter was a really big deal. Street Fighter Cross Tekken I found to be kind of fun. We kept making costumes around that. And man, I'm trying to think if there's any really big moments. Online Warrior continues. Raccoon City comes out and I try like general gameplay because everyone on YouTube is just in love with Let's Plays, so I start developing that skill set. And this was one of the first games that I sort of did that with because yeah, I was excited for it. And I wanted to give it a shot. This was the beginning of all of that, of just figuring out what the hell to do with the channel, and it was a lot of just throwing things in a bunch of different directions and hoping something lands. Really hoping that something lands. And this time on YouTube, things were getting more and more difficult to try to keep your audience, which was very frustrating. But the thing that everyone cared the most about was Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Like, MVC 3 was the thing that everyone came back to. Season 2 of Assist Me kept going. We did a Chris episode, which was very fun. It climaxed in this insane moment, and this is eventually what would get us kicked out of our place in Santa Monica because the film productions were just getting too big. It was just getting too big and too crazy, and this was pretty much what did it. Like, this was the episode that did it, you know? We did end up having 7 costumed zombies, like 15 total actors for this tiny little scene. No lighting, holy shit, no lighting. The most ridiculous shoot ever. And I was like, I wanted to make it like Aliens with zombies, man, I wanna have fun. Hey, get you, chat? Motherfucker, he got me. I didn't even know until editing. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, we had all little character drama and the tutorials kept going. And then, yeah, a lot of shit happens. Me and Simmons keep on doing Sega Saturn Saturdays. I think I wanna watch this. His costume is just disintegrating. Yeah, that was an official commercial we made for Microsoft for Star Wars Connect. They didn't like it, so we just posted it anyway. More Skullgirls stuff. Virtua Fighter. Hey, here's me fucking playing Phantasy Star Online 2! Me playing the Japanese beta of PSO2. This is crazy, man. 2012. This game's coming out in this year. So yeah, we were definitely spreading around. I was definitely trying to make the channel not just fighting games, because I'm like, if it's just gonna be fighting games, I'm just not gonna have enough friggin' content. Like, I'm just not gonna have enough to do this. But the idea was that if I play this every once in a while, if I just play the things I like, I think people will stick around, which was good. But it was a lot of like trial and error, and was definitely not making a ton of money. We were just keeping afloat for the most part. This is when we got our CVS2 cabinet.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Matt.
And I'm Max.
And this is our first road trip.
Simmons just shoots that, points that shit at me. So we were going out to the middle of like nowhere, and we were gonna find this CVS2 machine, and we didn't know what the hell to expect. We were going some back alley and some shit, and that was... We were a little nervous, but we were getting a CVS2 machine for an incredible deal, which I still have to this day. Where was Kenny and Steve at this time? I don't know. They weren't born yet. We'll get to that point where they become a big part of the stream. But a lot of videos, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 videos, Black Ops 2 videos, Third Strike the Online Warrior. I think at this point, Third Strike has transitioned to being a live, yeah, it's a live commentary instead of a post-game commentary. Yeah, we went to E3, we played Devil May Cry, like a lot of fighting games came out this year. Virtua Fighter came out, so much shit. Like, an Online Warrior was still going. We're up to episode 33 at this point of UMVC3, the Online Warrior. Now here's my video about Smash Brothers 4. Lobbies, playing online. Oh, here's a big one. Marvel vs. Capcom Origins gets announced. And Capcom once again wants us to make a Assist Me for it pretty fast. Like, relatively fast. And this was the early part of pre-production for Marvel vs. Capcom Origins Assist Me. And the crazy part is that we had already moved by this point. We were already living in our new place, but we still had a lot of Assist Me shot from the previous season that was still getting ready for editing. But here's the crazy part, is that we had an Evo special, and this Assist Me Evo special premiered at Evo, and this was the first panel that we ever did with like a live action sort of integration. That all of our characters, everyone was there at the panel.
You took me back to your hotel.
And the big thing was just the characters getting to Evo. So it was really neat because the panel was jam-packed, dude. Like, the panel was packed full of people. And then as we got up hella early in the morning, like extremely early in the morning, like 7 or something, and we had everyone running around in costumes, and this was the day the panel was, and I had to edit this shit together live on the day it was. We shot all of this. I had the rest of the project ready to go, and we had them run through Vegas that morning so I can get the video ready, because when you walked into the panel, it was like all dark. They would be watching the video, and at the end of the video, they literally run into the panel room, and then Wesker and Doom would break through the fucking doors. So yeah, it was a challenging show, but it was a lot of fun. That was the first panel we ever did, and that continued the, like, we did panels for like 6 years at EVO. This was the only year we didn't do a panel this year. Man, anything else that's nutty in here? To me, 2012 is kind of a slow year because it's in between. It's like right at that point where there's no big, really big fighting games coming out. Injustice is gonna be a thing, and I'd end up playing that in I think it comes out in 2013? 80,000 subscribers, me talking about what the hell Capcom's next game is gonna be. Is it gonna be Darkstalkers or what? Just that never happened. Oh, us playing KOF 13 for the first time. This was when that came out. Holy shit. Yeah, this was back when I wasn't a huge SNK fan. Yeah, so here's a big one. This is the finale of Assist Me Season 2. We had the Phoenix episodes, which I didn't cover yet, but we had a giant integration with a shit ton of characters here. It was tough, man. There was so much happening at the end of this season that it was nuts. So there's this big goofy ass fight scene, man. Big goofy ass fight scene. Watch MODOK disappear. MODOK had so many weird glitches in his editing, man. There was just too much going on, too many elements. Fucking poor editing program couldn't handle it.
3 on 3. I don't like those odds.
This is why I wrote myself out of this scene so I could actually film it and edit it live in my head. And we filmed it sequentially so I could figure out the editing live in my head. I think there was 4 Taskmaster actors in the end. I think 4 people ended up playing Taskmaster at some point. There's no storyboarding for this. There's no storyboarding and no script. There was lines, so we had, there was script. There was lines the characters had, and we had to hit story beats, but we had no choreography.
Let me show you what they never let me bring to school.
Playtime is over, Tony. Now get the fuck out of my house!
No budget. Yeah, no budget. All of Assist Me was done on the smallest of budgets. So the gimmick was that at the end of it, what I really wanted them to do was an actual 3 versus 3 tag battle. You know, like big 3v3 tag match at the end of the season to cement like an actual Marvel vs. Capcom. An actual Marvel vs. Capcom fight. Week ofs, just general coverage. I started like one of my first full playthroughs with that Fall of Cybertron game. Retro Assist Me happens. I think there'd be a couple of good moments I can pick out from Retro Assist Me. Yeah, this leads to a pretty funny moment where we like confront Commando here. All this shit was so we had to make a tutorial off of Marvel 1 and Marvel Superheroes. We had to figure out this story of Captain Commando's a bad guy and he used his power to manipulate time to become the #1 Capcom good guy.
Listen, Commando, we need to talk. You want an autograph, right? Forget it. No, not an autograph. Marvel versus Capcom. Start talking. What do you know about that game?
Remember, it was a nightmare figuring out the blocking for this fucking scene, dude. Just figuring out how we were gonna block all this shit in this little room.
What's the matter? What is it?
Oh my god, it's Chad Kroger. Good lord, it's Nicolas Cage.
So young, this wasn't even that long ago, chat. It was 6 years. But there's a very important thing that happens a couple years after this that ages me 10 years.
This is the last time Commander's gonna send some of his jerkbots to my place.
Holy shit.
Eat blood, slugger!
I loved so much not having to play myself. Jesus Christ, man. I was so happy not getting to play myself, chat. It was so much fun. Yeah, we got to continue this one because there's a lot of, we had a lot of fun with Retro Assist Me. So the whole point of the gimmick is that we have to convince Wesker to become an evil asshole biologist, you know, for him to become the normal Wesker because we screwed things up in the past. And then it leads to our big climactic battle in the end. Once again, for this fight, we're like, okay, let's write out the story beats that we have to hit because we have to hit these story beats. But what the choreography is and how we need to get there, we're gonna figure out on the spot. And somehow, figure out the fight scene always ended up, we ended up figuring it out. It was a miracle that this shit happened. Was I a film student? No, I learned all this shit on the fly.
Commando!
All the pacing and all this shit we learned on the fly. Actual height represented. This is so fucking good. This shit is so good. Fuck you, chat. This is so good. Our Back to the Future parody was so much fun. That was a little Back to the Future movie. It was fun, and it was hard. We had to make it very fast. Super enjoyable. The funny thing is that until we start getting the live action Assist Me's in 2015, that's where it was like, oh, we get to go crazy with this. Like, we actually, in 2015, we had the budget to do insane things like Predator Assist Me and Alien Assist Me and stuff like that. We had the budget to. Whatever idea we have, we can do it because we honestly had a community that was supporting enough on between Twitch and YouTube just to make it possible. Budget wasn't the concern. What really ended up being the concern was time. Like, how much time was it going to be? And here's the actual start of Yo Video Games as a channel. So, on October 6th, 2012.
What's up, everyone? Maximilian.
What's up, everyone? YouTube here, smash that like button. This was the point in my content creating that was tough to figure out, like, who you wanted to be, like, on camera. What do you want to come across as? Like, how do you want to be perceived? Like, all that weird shit that comes with, like, people seeing you almost every single day, you know? Learning how to, like, speak to people. Like, learning how to address your audience. Like, do you want to get, like, what's up, YouTube? Big Monday, smash that like button. Like, you know, like, how do you want to come across? This was definitely a difficult time of that because we obviously had the show and making things, but people didn't really know me very well because the show was just a characterization of me, which fucking sucked. Won't make a lot of sense to everybody, but for me, it's something that I had to, like, struggle with for kind of a long time. Street Fighter 4 vanilla battles, talking about knights. I'm curious on how this video comes across because this video is December 11, 2012, and this video took a shit ton of time. Like a holy shit ton of time. These very highly edited conversational videos. Yeah, this was at the time where we were super pissed with Capcom.
I'll take Star Gladiator 3 at this point. There could possibly be something in development right now. Something that's taking all these rumors and all this speculation into account. And there's even a chance that it might be that
I don't think Marvel Infinite was in development at this point.
I've been waiting for a really long time.
Oh my God, I've been singing the Capcom All-Stars praise since when? I've been screaming to the heavens for Capcom All-Stars since 2012? Jesus, dude. Good God. Jesus, man. All that friggin' hyper editing. Wait a minute.
You know, if you happen to enjoy the video, please leave a thumbs up below.
Wait a minute.
Consider subscribing as I put up daily videos covering fighting games and a multitude. And I'll see you guys next time.
Guys? Anybody? All my friends are dead.
It's just like a goofy, like, the thing is, it's like hyper editing, extremely fast, extremely hyper joke delivery, like constant blitzkrieg of senses, like visually and auditory. But it takes a lot, you know? It takes a shit ton of time for the whole thing and not a lot of thought. It takes all that fucking effort. I don't know. I think that's why I never did them again. It didn't seem like it was adding that much because that was the meme edit. Yeah, that was the thing in 2012. So that was 2012. I think a big part of 2012 for me, looking back at it now, was just finding out like who I am. As a big retrospective, a little bit of introspection here. A big thing about life. In your teens and your 20s, you don't know who the fuck you are, man. All you're doing is just copying the shit that's around you and just trying to figure out who the fuck you are and what you want to be and what you want to do. You have no idea. And that's a bit of what I was going through even with this video making process around this time frame. You start to get a better understanding of like how you want to be perceived, where you are just intellectually, where you are with the people around you, the relationships you have, and trying to even find a place with that with the content I was producing. And I do feel that in 2012, outside of like Assist Me, which was very much like to our core and was very much like what we loved, and some things like Sega Saturn Saturday, a lot of this stuff is effort for me to find that. It's a lot of effort that I put in to sort of figure that shit out. What I did like was the fact that I did start playing a lot of other fighting games. I think it was good. I think the fact that I was kind of struggling with 2012 and figuring out what I wanted my channel to be, much less what I wanted to make content-wise, was this. I mean, hell, am I gonna feel that same way when I'm eventually in my 40s? Like, I don't know, but I absolutely feel that there was definitely a moment where I just get to be myself, and it's not like a reference or a preservance or whatever of something else and trying to be something else. And I think that was very reflective in the content at the time too, was a lot of like confusion and understanding and just trying to figure it out. Probably one of the toughest years I had on YouTube because this was me doing YouTube for the first time full-time. The 2010s and the 2011s was just the beginning of us like sucking and figuring stuff out. While some stuff was good in 2012, like Assist Me was getting better and better and some other stuff, a lot of it I think just kind of sucked. So I appreciate the fact that so many people stuck with it for that time frame. Like I said earlier, in the 2010s, you have to start off somewhere and it's not gonna be good. It's gonna be bad. And the fact that anyone's sticking around during that shit is a fucking miracle.